live. Just going to give it a few minutes and we'll start running with it. Usually I jump onto these live streams and then 4 or 5 minutes in I see a few of you guys coming on and then we've missed the whole video. Alright, so I might as well jump into this video. So for today I thought every time I take out my wheel, my rear wheel, and I put it back in, I've got a bit of hassles with my gears. And it's something I've had before as well, and it's something I've had with clients as well. So I thought, let me go through a tutorial, show you guys what you can check, what you can have a look at, just to make sure that in the future it doesn't happen again. So what you'll need, probably something like this, multi-tool, and there's a variety of multi-tools. I've got this Parksel one, old trusty, this thing has never let me down. I've got this one with a variety of Allen keys on there. If you've got something that's more like your Scots, I know some of the Scots, it's got a lot of torque wrenches on there, or torque keys, you can use that. I've got this little one that's also just full of torques, so that's nice. But for this case, I'm going to use my little fork tool wrench, and I'm going to show you guys what to look at. So when you've taken out your wheel, some of the times things like the following can happen. So if we look at this, your rear derailleur hanger. So this is the little part that bolts onto the frame. And I know some of the new derailleurs don't have that, but for our old guys who still ride the old bikes with derailleur hangers, this is what we'll check. So on the derailleur hanger, either you'll have a big bolt at the front, or in this case I've got two small ones at the back. So I'm just going to check and tighten these two, not a lot, you just tighten a little bit and make sure there's no play on that. So that one is fine, and this one, oh, they're also all good. And then the next thing you'll check will be your derailleur. Make sure that is tightened. Now I know this one is tightened because I've already tightened it and made a video about that. So that you can go in there, you can tighten that. And then if those things are done, the following two things I'm going to do is crucial to setting your gears. So quickly I'm going to put back the wheel, and then I'll take you through the rest of the steps. So make sure our bike is on the smallest chainring at the back. Open the derailleur. Put it onto the smallest chainring at the back, or here, and you can put it into the frame, and you can tighten it. Now these steps we're going to follow if you know for a fact that your axle of the hub doesn't have any play on it, if you are sure that your cassette is tightened, so that's another thing, you can make sure your cassette is tightened, because if that's got play, that will also be an issue. This one real quick. Alright, so I moved the brake caliper for another video with another wheel. Let me just loosen this real quick. Alright, so I've made a video, but I'm going to give you guys that tip as well. When you've got brakes that needs adjustment, loosen the caliper so you can move it with your hands, and then one hand, pull the brake lever, hold it in, and then just tighten the caliper again, and that should center your brakes quite quickly. This is just a quick hack. There might be some rotors that's bent or needs a lot more attention, but this is something real quick that you can do just to make sure that you've done that. Alright, so back to the derailleur. So what we're going to do now, we're going to make sure that our cable tension is good. So I'm going to loosen my derailleur cable pinch bolt at the back. I'm going to loosen that. I'm going to make sure the cable is out. Okay, so the cable is now out. Now this is an important thing to remember. I'm going to move you guys closer to see if I can give you a good view on this. So what we're now going to check, we're going to check our stoppers to see if our lowers and our higher stopper is perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the derailleur with your hand, with your thumb here on the bottom part where it swivels. We're going to start turning the crank and then just push the derailleur. And when it gets to the top, and make sure you don't go too fast with your wheel spinning the rim, because if your stopper is not correct, it will go into the spokes. So I'm giving that quite a push, and it seems quite good. If you release it, it comes back to the bottom one. Now, if it's not going to the top gear, and it's not coming back to the bottom gear, on the derailleur itself, you will see two little screws here. They are most of the times marked a high or a low, and then you will go and you'll check, okay, so I'm currently working on my low, which will be the inner one. Alright, I'll release this one and it will make the derailleur move outwards if it doesn't go to the small chainring. Same on the top one, if it doesn't go in, I'll just loosen the bolt a bit or the screw a bit and it will go over. If it goes into the spokes, it means you need to tighten it a little bit. So you'll tighten it and basically forms a stopper for the derailleur to not go over. So let's see how it works now. Okay, so we've done that. Now we're going to put in our cable again. So this is they call it a pinch bolt. Put off the clutch on this derailleur. That's easy. Alright, so we're going to put back our cable. Now this one's got a little cable tie on here. Horrible choice to do something like that because it makes it difficult to work with it, so I'll just take that off when we're done with this video to make sure in the future I can work nice and easy on the bike, because you don't want to be restricted when it comes to things like this. Alright, so now here's the main thing. Make sure that your cable is pushed nicely into the little holes it got. So for example there, make sure it's pushed nice into there, into the grommets here, all the way into your shifter. And then another thing is on your shifter itself, which I was going to bring you closer a bit. On the shifter itself, just give yourself some cable tension to work with. So we're going to turn this one in, 1, 2, 3, because it was out a little bit. If you've got too much of your bolt sticking out this side, just turn it in a bit. Give yourself some cable to work with or tension to work with. So let's go back to our derailleur. In this case it's a number 4 Allen key. I've made sure I've got enough cable here. Tighten this one. The pinch bolt, so it pinches the cable. You can call it whatever you like, as long as it's the bolt that's holding onto the cable. Make sure it's everywhere into its small little grooves. You'll see there's grooves, guiding grooves that will keep your cable in place. Make sure that's in. Okay, and make sure you tighten this, not super hard, but make sure you tighten it quite nicely. Alright, and now we're going to start playing around with it a bit. So let's start. We've checked our stoppers, they are perfect. We've now put in the cable, and there will probably be a need to add some tension, so let's check. So I'm going to shift up here. The first one, you can see my thumb there. Let me see if I can move it in. There, let's see. Okay, so what happened? It didn't go to the next gear. So important, shift down, give yourself a bit of a turn here, a few clicks, and we start again. Same, we go down, give yourself a few clicks, almost there, give yourself a few clicks, and then we started to shift gears. Now the moment you went up to the following gear, come down again and we start from there again. Yes, I'm from South Africa. Where are you from? Alright, so let's check. Let's just swipe this up. There we go. see we've got a lot of people on the stream. Okay, so most important, when it went up, we're just going to come down and we're going to start from the bottom again. Okay, it went up. Let's run through the gears. It needs a little bit, so we're going to come down on one shift. Give ourselves one click on the tension screw and work from there all the way to the top. Alright, so the issue I think I had on mine was when I started working with this and I pushed this in, the little housing end wasn't pushed over the housing as far as it should have been. So I pushed that in. I made sure I've got enough cable to work with. I start with my gears. When it doesn't want to go up, I give myself a few tension clicks. When it goes up, I come back down again and I start from the top, from the bottom. So let's run up and see what happens. Alright, there it goes. So it might be one click. Give myself one click there. Alright, so now there might be something else I need to check as well. And they call this the B screw. So the B screw is basically a tension screw on the derailleur that either pulls it away from the gears, from your cluster, or brings it closer. Now what this does is speeds up the shifting or slows it down a little bit. So the further your chain runs from the pulley to the gears, the slower it will shift. So let's check. I'm going to turn, release or loosen my B screw, and this should, let me see if I can put you guys down quickly and just show that to you. Let me see if I can show you the movement real quick. Okay, so when I release it, it should go closer to the cassette. And there you can see it goes closer to the cassette. Now the one thing you must remember, if you go too close, you will be shifting into the gears, and you don't want that as well. So let's just check this real quick. Okay, before I start, that's where I was more or less. So let's just come down here a bit. Let's see. Okay, so it's a little bit slow going up. So I'm gonna loosen it a little bit. Just a half a turn or so. Because a little does make a big difference. And we're gonna go again. Okay, maybe one more turn. And I think this should be the magic. Alright, let's have a look. Here we go. One more turn. And I'm also going to add just a little bit of tension on the tension screw. So I'm going to give myself one more click here. And let's see what happens now. That looks pretty good to me. Now guys, let me just get you back here real quick. It's not always necessary to take your bike to a bike shop. Not always necessary. But obviously there's times that you need to do it. But in this case it was something small, something we could do. If you had to service your freer body, you had to service the hub just to get this done, then maybe take it to a bike shop. If not, comment down below and I'll make sure I make you a video on how to service these hubs. I've made a few videos on how to service XT hubs. You can go have a look on that. Let's just run through these gears one more time. So before I do that, so we checked the bolts on the hanger. We checked the tightness of our derailleur, how tight it was tightened. We made sure our stoppers are correct. We checked the cable tension. We checked the V screw. And now we're going to check the gears for the final time. click on the tension. There we go. And guys, don't be like me. Shift through your gears. Usually when I do these gear setting for clients, I try to put myself into a position where they're busy racing and they just push the gear lever as quick as they can to get to the next gear. So that might be the reason that sometimes it doesn't shift, but let's just have a look again if I do it properly. I think I'm gonna have to get a bit of tension on this, either on the tension or we're gonna have to start working on the stopper. Fun fact, did you know the following? On the Shimano gears, you can either release or you can release. Just thought that's something cool. So many people riding Shimano and don't know that. Alright, that's just a quick video on how to set your gears like a pro and make sure that they work. If it still persists and you still have slow gears or sticky gears and it doesn't work, make sure you go and replace your cable, or you put some Q20 or something that's a cleaner inside of your housings, and then try it again. But usually when your gears stay sticky, it might be dirt inside the cable. Alright guys, thank you so much for everyone joining in. We were quite a few at one point here. So enjoy. We'll see each other on the next one.